All right, we are live. Hello, and welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52 Speaker Edition with my co-author and Integrity Game Certified Coach Sue Mathieson. What's happening, Sue? Happy last Friday before Halloween. It's Jeff Boy RD coming to you from the home office today. I'm going to go right into it in case anybody is going, what's going on? It's so fun, right? Can you guys see? There it is. For those of you that don't know, there's this thing here in the United States, and it's a brand called Chef Boyardee, and it's all of these 37-cent, ravioli, Insta meal, heat and eat, ready to go for the latchkey kids when parents are working and kids needed to make themselves dinner. This was my experience growing up. Just open up the can, put it in a pot, heat it up, and eat it. You're good, right? So I'm Jeff Boyardee for Halloween. This food should scare all of us. Okay. All right. So we want to cook up another tip today. Tip number 40. Oh, by the way, I'm really Jeff Klubeck, but Jeff Boyardee today. And we're doing Get a Clue in 52 for speakers. I'm always in a good mood on Friday. I've had such a good week this week. How's it going for you, Sue? Before we get into reading today's tip and setting up the sections and everything, what's happening? How are you?
Oh my goodness, I'm doing really well, and I can't stop laughing. But just see you suddenly appear, and I'm like, oh yes, of course, Halloween.
That's
I
right.
get it.
That's right.
I had two things I was going to mention.
Yep.
I caught up with a colleague yesterday, and she is a specialist in the area of infection prevention. But I had given her a copy of the book 3 or 4 months ago, and straight away, because she does a lot of presentations, I was asking, what were you doing when I saw you before? And she said, I was presenting Get a Clue.
Wait, hang on. You broke up a little bit there. One more time.
She was just saying how much she enjoyed. So she does a lot of presenting. I had given her a copy of the book.
Right.
And she loves referencing it to help her with her presentations.
To just sharpen here and there, to check in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then continue. And then the last part you were saying?
And so she had been doing presenting to a broader group of industry specialists in that particular subject. And she was just so happy to have this as a reference guide to help her when she's doing preparation and then when it actually comes to presenting. So
really
that
cool.
was
how did that make you feel to get that immediate feedback that somebody is using the book?
Oh, it's great. And great that it's serving a purpose for her, but also that we can continue conversations. And it wasn't appropriate at the time that I caught up with her yesterday, but it still opens up opportunity to come back and say, tell me more. What are the specifics? What are the, to do a deep dive with her and then look for opportunity to be able to maybe tease out and work with her more closely. So that was fun. Yeah.
Really good. Yep. Good. Yeah, it's wonderful, fulfilling for me to know that the book is living and breathing, especially internationally. That's wonderful. And today, today we're in tip 43 of 52, and my goodness, it's a long tip. So what I think I want to do, Sue, if tell me how you feel about this, is I want to get right into it. I'm going to skip the intros and the sections and all the stuff. Yes. Why don't we just get right into reading the tip?
Sure.
What do you think? Or do you think, should we set it up?
That sounds really good. And I think so. Yeah. Let's set it up and we'll get into it.
All right. Well, I want to do it really quick then. So the idea, what we're talking about for those of you out there that are trying to catch up with Sue and I, all of the Get a Clue in 52 books, they have 5 categories to them. And so we're in category 5 now. But let's catch everybody up and let you know that the first section of the book, the first 10 tips, we're playing the integrity game. That's another book that I wrote to introduce a 10-point model to deliver soft skills. But the 10 points on the model transfer into 10 tips to set our foundation, to really retrofit ourselves when we want to build a career through speaking or build a speaking career. Okay. Then with that foundation, the second 10 tips, section number 2 in the book, is bring out your brand. And this is all of the design. This is all of the decoration. This is all of the creativity, our differentiation, our brand promises, our competitive advantages, avoiding humiliating humility, all of the stuff. It's not a spectator sport. We got to be proactive. All of those tips about branding, getting our brand out there. Now, once we know what our brand is and once we have our solid foundation, now we're ready to construct speeches and talks and keynotes, etc. In section 3, introduced 2 mindset tips to start, and then the final 8 tips in this section were all about the 8 steps to fearless public speaking. Proven 8 steps that I've used to help thousands, literally thousands of people either get past their fear of public speaking or improve on the effectiveness of their speaking. Wherever you are on the fear to confidence continuum, my 8 steps will move you further along. And then last section that we covered was section 4, because tip number, don't we have it in here? Yeah. Tip number 27 overall in section 3 was on outlining. That's the 5th step to fearless public speaking. It ended up falling as tip number 27. But outlining is so important. There's so much to say strategically about outlining that we created a whole section just to break outlining down into its elements, forms, and functions. 5 elements of an intro, 3 elements of a conclusion, the powerful element of transition sentences that help us navigate ourselves and our audiences through our content, right? We talked about elements, forms, and functions, the forms these elements can take and how they function in terms of effectiveness for public speaking. And that, deep breath, please. Okay. Finally, that got us to where we are now, which is section 5. And this is where I relax a little bit and start to have a little bit more fun, as if I'm not having fun all the time, but more fun. Because I have a jovial approach to all 12 tips in this section, because it's like my coping mechanism for realizing and being honest and vulnerable about the fact that even though I'm aware of these 12 accountabilities, that we need to build a skill into a practice into a business, the 12 accountabilities that any small or micro business must meet in order to grow and scale into a full-fledged business, medium-sized business or beyond. But definitely from an income earning hobby to a skill set to income earning hobby to practice to that progression, there's 12 accountabilities that we need to pay attention to. And I've done okay at many of them, but I joke around a lot in this section, and it's basically to make myself feel better, because I know that I suck at a lot of this and I know how hard a lot of this is. And that's my intro. So having said all of that, Sue, can you catch us up on tips 41 and tell us, review what did we start this section off, and then lead us into from 41 to 42 to 43.
Sure. Yeah. So 41, we were asking the question, is it worth it? So being honest with ourselves as to what do we have? Is it just a monetizable skill set or an income earning hobby? Practice. And if we're going to make that decision of transitioning into a practice, really asking the hard questions of what's the fee of doing that? And I love that line of doing the fee or understanding the fee of feasibility. So drilling down what's involved in making sure that it is worth running. And then once we've decided that we're going to run it, then actually run it. And I don't know if you've got the image available.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to pull it up right now.
But in the book, you've got the org chart. Yeah, you've got the org chart, because when we make that decision to run it, we're talking about the position of the chief operating officer. Yeah, so we go from, which is that one there. So we've moved the first 41, just jumping quickly back to 41, we're the owner or the shareholder. And now we've decided, yes, we're going to run it. We need that second position of the chief operating officer. And now, which leads us to today of asking the question, do we have a menu? And
real quick, Sue, before we get into it, let me just clarify, since we've gone visual here, that the idea is if the person in this box on the org chart is responsible for running and they're accountable to this person, right? Whoever the owner or owners are, they're going to hold this person accountable to running the business. So now what we want to set up for people is the departments across, in case you're following and you want to take notes, or if you have your book, right? It's marketing, sales, operations, and finance. So these departments need to be reporting to a COO character on the KPIs that let us know if the business is working average, below average, or above average, so that decisions can be made on tweaks that need to be made to get where they need to go. So when we leave, like I call this above the line, right? These people work on the business, and then these are the accountabilities in the business. And with that in mind, we're going to start here in tip 43 with the third accountability on the org chart, which is, right, we're ready to go now. I just wanted to set that up, that we're we're in operations, just because it's not printed here, but we are in the operations department. That's where the third accountability shows up. And as we go through this, it will become clear to everyone my ordering system. Like, it's not counterintuitive to realize that the first accountability is to decide if the business is worth it. It's not, a counterintuitive to decide that the second accountability then is to make sure it runs, to run it, build it, run it, operate it, make sure it operates, make sure it runs. Okay. But then you might be wondering, well, why 3 here and 4 here and 5 here? Then we move left to right. You know what I'm saying? So why do I leave operations and come to marketing before we move our way back to operations? That'll become clear as we go. But for now, I'm ready to rock and roll up and down all the way through tip number 43, which is the third accountability on our chart. Are you ready, Sue?
Yes.
All right, take it away. All right.
So reading word for word, and I will say that this flows, if you're reading the whole series of tips, it flows from the previous tip, and really almost back to that first one of this section where we were asking the question, is it worth running? So I open up word for word. It sounds a little weird calling it a speaking practice, but I get that I don't fit the category of a business per se. What is the next area I need to give attention to?
All right, here we go. In the next area, you need to ask yourself a critical question. Do you have a menu? Isn't it funny, Sue, by the way, that I'm Jeff Boyardee today when I'm using the menu? It just kind of fell that way the last Friday before Halloween here. But here we go. The third accountability on Org Chart 101 is the first of 3 accountabilities that reside inside the operations department. And, well, let me go ahead and pull it back up now that I'm referring to it. So I'm sorry.
Yep.
Let me do that. Here we go. All right. So, okay. And I was hinting at this. This is here we go again, Sue. In my opening, it's like I already know what's coming in the book, but like not word for word. You know what I mean? It's like my brain just is so committed to these explanations. But here we go. All right. So the third accountability on Org Chart 101 is the first of 3 accountabilities that reside inside the operations department. Number 7 is customer service, which will be elaborated on in its own tip later in this section, but is also referred to importantly in this tip. All right, here we go. So call it research and development, call it product and service development, call it menu management, or whatever you want to call it, as long as you understand that if the business doesn't have anything to sell, it is not a business. So we will call box number 3 on our org chart R&D, to understand that a business is constantly researching and developing, quote, new and or improved products and services. It can sound simple when I hear it asked, what are you selling? Speaking, right? Wrong. I believe that if speaking is the only thing on the menu and the only thing someone could buy from you is speaking, you may have an income earning hobby, but not a business. Humor my elaborations below while I bottom line this tip up front. If speaking is all that is on your menu, you don't have a business, parentheses. You may have an income earning skill set, not a business, end parentheses. And as soon as you put something other than speaking on your menu, you are limiting yourself if still calling your business a speaking business. And lying to yourself in both cases if your business cannot do what all businesses must do to survive. Profit. Now for the humoring me part. First, on some of the math of it all. I laugh because like here, what, me doing math? This is crazy. Anyway, but here we go. All right, here we go. Like I got to take a deep breath for this. Let me take a sip of coffee because I'm about to get into my Jeff, like 99 bottles of beer on the wall rhythm. Are you ready?
Yep, go for it.
Oh, this is intentionally supposed to be jovial and fun. Here we go. How many hours of work? Oh, I'm sorry. How many hours in a work week for an entrepreneur started? Wait. Oh, how many hours are in a work week for an entrepreneur starting their speaking business? 40, 70? Let's compromise and say 55. One of my mentors, Brian Tracy, taught me that we work 8 hours a day for survival and the rest for success. So 55, yeah? Now, how many of those 55 will ideally be, quote, in session, delivering speeches, which is accountability number 7, by the way, right? When you're actually speaking, the moments that we're actually speaking on stage or on wherever we're speaking, if it's online or whether, otherwise, that's where we're doing customer service there. We're delivering what somebody's paid for if they've paid us for the event, right? So the moment that we're actually speaking, we are meeting this accountability of giving somebody what they've paid for. If we do it really well, we're also handling some of these marketing activities as well, and we're making this accountability much easier to perform as well, on and on and on, right? So like I said, we refer to accountability number 7 because it's important, but it'll get its own tip later on in the section. Let me go back to the word for word as we focus on R&D. So again, how many hours are in a work week for an entrepreneur starting their speaking business? 40, 70, let's compromise and say 55. Brian Tracy taught me, 8 hours a day for survival, the rest for success, right? So here we go. How many speaking hours a day or week does a full-time speaker spend speaking? If it's 40 hours, if a full-time speaker is speaking 40 hours a week, that's 15 hours a week for everything else, for marketing, for sales, for finance, and the other 2 accountabilities inside of operations. You do the rest of the scenario scrambling, right? 30 hours of speaking gives you 25 hours for everything else and so on. But the bottom line is that if you build up enough speaking clients to be speaking anywhere near full-time hours, so you can earn somewhere near full-time income, what kind of a business do you expect to grow when one person, the same one that just spoke for 30 plus hours, has to do the full-time jobs of marketing, sales, and finance, and the rest of operations in minus 30 hours, in less than 30 hours, right? Even if you up-level from 55 hours a week to 80, you are still trying to earn a full-time living as a speaker while doing 4 additional full-time jobs in under 50 hours a week, and being fatigued, distracted, and just not as good at some of it as you are at some of the other things. Let me take another deep breath. If speaking is the only thing on your menu, by the time you sell enough of it to earn a respectable income as a speaker, your calendar may be too full to build, run, grow the business with any effectiveness. Unless you have financing from a bank or investors, you will be paying out of the speaking fees you collect or your own pocket, right? Or you'll be paying other people to do the things in the business for you, right? I read that awkwardly, Sue. Give me another crack at that, okay? Unless you have financing from a bank or investors, you will be paying out of the speaking fees you collect or out of your own pocket other people to do things in the business for you. So what do you need to charge for your speaking to be able to pay yourself for doing the speaking and still have money left over to fund the rest of the labor your business needs? And don't get me started on the non-labor expenses of utilities, subscriptions, memberships, continuing education, and events. How much? How much do you need to charge to pay yourself and still have money left over to fund all of that, those other accountabilities that we're looking at in the org chart? Yeah. So let me continue. There's a Klubi snack in there. What do you need to charge for speaking to be able to pay yourself for doing the speaking and still have money left over to fund the rest of the rest of the labor your business needs? Okay, let me continue reading word for word. Let me ask it another way. How much does your business pay your speakers? Do you have speakers contracted or employed to do the speaking in your business, or do you do it all? Right? What is the compensation for whoever does the speaking in your business? I'm not asking how much you charge for speaking. Right? I'm asking, from what you charge, how much of it do you pay yourself for doing the speaking, and how much do you leave in the business for other expenses? How much do you pay your COO for running the business? Or how much do you pay the shareholder in terms of dividends or profits? I think you get it, but I'm going to keep going. Let's see what else we can cook up here. This is so... I'm a little clunky in the read, but it's just so much. But let's have fun and get through it. Here we go. Does the amount paid include compensation for other roles a speaker performs in your speaking business? If the speaker books a speaking event, does the speaker get a commission for the sale as well as a fee for doing the actual speaking? If you are the only speaker in your business and if speaking is the only thing on your menu, do you even pay yourself as a speaker, or does all the money stay in the business that you live out of until you get more clients and get ahead? Do you understand the math of it all? Do you understand the math of it all allows me to urge you to stop calling it a speaking business, especially if speaking is the only thing you sell? Okay, I could go further in the math of it all, but what about semantics, or in linguistic terms? Let me highlight, we're in tip number 43, right? We're moving from the math to the linguistics or the semantics. If a burger was all that was on the menu, the joint might be called a burger business, but I doubt it, because one, it would probably still be referred to as a fast food business that sells burgers, even if only burgers. And number two, what kind of person thinks a burger business will stay in business if not also offering fries and sodas at minimum, or anything else peripherally related to burgers that makes sense to sell, like nuggets, wings, shakes, even stretching at times to, quote, research and develop a breakfast menu, etc. Nobody has a hot dog business, but a lot of people have a hot dog stand, including the stands that also sell other stuff like pretzels and drinks. It's still called a stand, not a business. The twofold point, again, is that I believe you will never grow it to a business if speaking is all you sell. And as soon as you add other products and services to your menu, why would you continue to call your business a speaking business if you sell more than speaking? Me? Oh, I love that, Sue. Thanks for the reaction. Me? Me with a question mark, rising inflection? I have a, quote, soft skills development, end quote, business. I have a, quote, leadership development business, end quote. I actually don't have a business at all. I don't have a business at all if I don't do what all businesses exist to do: profit. If I don't pay myself for the speaking I do, and I don't pay a profit dividend to the owner shareholder, how can I call it a business? This accountability is to make sure the business, quote, has something to sell. Excellence at meeting this accountability demands that you have more than one thing to sell, that you sell all things at a profitable price after you pay expenses, including speaker compensation. There is a profit. That the cost of researching, developing, marketing, selling, delivering, and accounting for your products and services, plural, is less than the revenue you generate. Most speakers do not pay themselves for the speaking they do, let alone turn a profit with dividends for the owner or shareholder. What real business would allow that? And for how long before folding? Better get more than just speaking on the menu if you want to grow this thing you are calling a speaking business. I called my business a coaching practice when coaching was the only thing on the menu. Now that I've added training, consulting, speaking, books, online courses, now even licenses and certificates that I sell now, right, I still hesitate to call it a business because it doesn't employ people or regularly turn a profit after all expenses. Sometimes I'm profitable, but not regularly, right? And cue the music. 10 more accountabilities on the chart, 10 more accountabilities. You nail one down and pass it around. I'm going to let everybody read along with me on this. Hang on. All right. Here we go. You guys, I want you to be able to, all right. From the top. Right here. 10 more accountabilities on the chart, 10 more accountabilities. You nail one down, pass it around. Dot, dot, dot. If you are not yet convinced that researching and developing your way to a profitable speaking business is extremely difficult, the next 9 tips reveal dozens more reasons why speakers struggle to build a speaking business. So here we are. 3 down. Is it worth it? Does it run? What does it sell? And Cue the music again. 9 more accountabilities on the chart. 9 more accountabilities. We'll see you next week for tip 44, where we get out of operations and into marketing. All right.
Golly.
There we go.
Ah, very good.
Tip. Oh, that's. Why am I on that banner? This should be tip 43. Do you have a menu? Yeah.
Well,
and there's
Mr.
a
Chef.
lot more. There's a lot more that we can say and unpack here, but that was a lot to read. We got through all of that, didn't we?
We did. We
All right.
did. Or you did. You were
Yeah.
doing the reading.
I was having fun. So what do you got, Sue? What's some of your initial feedback on tip 43? It's let me just summarize real quick. What I'm talking about is, and remember, I was making these arguments last year in Get a Clue in 52 for coaches.
Yes.
Say the same thing. If coaching is the only thing on your menu, come on, let's be honest here. Do you really have a coaching business? By the time you sell enough coaching to have a calendar full of coaching clients to earn anywhere near a full-time income, you don't have enough time left to meet the other accountabilities in the business. Or how's that going for you? So I just wanted to get in the face of anybody that says, "Oh, I have a coaching business." No, we don't. We don't. We have a coaching practice if we're anywhere near good at it. And all of it translates to speaking, right? So same thing. If speaking is the only thing on your menu, how much speaking do you need to do to earn a full-time income speaking? And if it's a speaking business, right, what about the other accountabilities on the chart? Right?
Yeah.
So I see speaking as, an a la carte thing. It's one of the things on my menu. It's one of the things somebody can buy from me is speaking. But if that's all I'm selling, wow, right? And I'm not saying it's impossible. And there's speakers out there that's all they do is speak, and it's their only revenue stream. But it just doesn't make sense to me that if you're speaking, you have that. The other side of it, and I didn't even get into it. But if you're doing that much speaking, you have that much influence from the front of rooms. It just doesn't make sense to me why there wouldn't be something in the back of the room every time. There's something for people to buy.
Yes.
Right. What are you speaking about? Okay. Well, even when I say buy, I mean next steps, right? So even speaking at nonprofits, right? Well, hey, I want Authors Hour. What was I selling? Right. I was selling donations to the Lamp of Learning Scholarship. We're giving away the books, but I was selling a donation. I was selling people on making a donation. It was on the menu. Does this make sense? Right.
Yeah.
So if we have that much influence, we want people to take action, calls to action. If you're saying, "Hey, I'm speaking to you today about this particular topic, and I want you to hire me as a speaker for your next event." Okay, but that's a little incestuous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm here, and you can learn more by enrolling in this program or use this QR code and go register and give us your email address, and we'll give you something free, and we'll put you in a funnel, and whatever it happens to be, or buy books in the back of the room, or enroll in a coaching program, or it just seems to me that. Damian Elston once told me, Damian, he once told me that, and I'm sure he heard it somewhere, but I heard it from him. And he says, look, if you're only selling one thing, you just want to make money. If all I'm selling is, I think the example he would use is protein powder. If all you're selling is protein powder, and that's all you're selling, you just want to make money. But if you're trying to sell protein powder by saying this is going to help you be healthy and strong, and you're not selling other things that also help people be healthy and strong, you're just trying to make money on your protein powder. But if you're selling everything else that makes sense to sell within your business that helps people get healthy and strong, now you're really trying to help people get healthy and strong.
Yeah.
Right.
And to that, would you say that that's a transition between the pure moving into the transformational?
Ask it again.
So if you're just making money, if you've got one product, to Damien's argument, you're only in it. The only thing you can do is make money. So you're stuck in that transactional space. Whereas if you are focusing on what are the other things that can complement that product and other things that you can sell, you are in the transformational space of making a difference to your customer.
Yeah. Yes. I think so. Can I, you weren't ready for this, but can I use you as the example?
Yeah. I'm open to.
Well, think about all of the things that you've quote bought from my menu. Right? You've bought some one-on-one coaching time, you've got group mentoring, you've got, a license.
Yes.
Do you follow? And has it been, especially this past year, and now, you've invested in the co-authored project. There's expenses to produce our book, and you're an investor in this project, right? That's on the menu. It's on the menu.
Yes.
So has this been transformational for you? You know what I'm saying? Like
it goes without saying, yes. An absolute yes.
So I appreciate being able to call on that. But the idea is, when you met me, I didn't have book collaborations on my menu.
Mm-hmm.
When you met me, I didn't have a license or a certification on my menu. When you met me, right? Okay. So, we're constantly researching and developing things to put on our menu. And there's some things maybe I used to sell that I don't sell anymore. Or you follow? Like, I can tell you one time I tried to put peer advisory on my menu. I was trying to see if I could build peer advisory groups on my own. What I've realized since, and it was a great lesson to learn, is why on earth would I ever try to build my own peer advisory group when Vistage does such a good job at it, right? Just get involved with Vistage, right? Which, by the way, Sue, do you know about the Vistage organization?
Yes, yeah, and I've noticed it here. We've got Vistage Australia, New Zealand that seems to be becoming more prominent.
Do you really? Well,
yeah.
Well, the big news that I wanted to that I teased you with before, that I'm happy to tell you that Jim Rastusha, is a Vistage chair, and he's doing well, and he was asked to take on an emerging leaders group, and he asked me to be the first speaker for their kickoff, their first event, to go in and deliver the integrity game and puppeteer, like a workshop around disc and self-awareness, right? So we're going to do assessments in the integrity game, and it's going to be perfect to get these people a foundation as Jim leads them on their journey. So guess what that means, right? That means I'm going to jump through. Right now. This is brand new, fresh news as of last night. Today, I got the email this morning. Welcome to Vistage. Here's your click here and go fill up.
Fantastic!
Yeah. So guess what? I'm basically right now in the process of enroll. Well, like, I'm doing all the paperwork to be onboarded as a Vistage speaker. And it's really exciting news. I'm really proud to support Jim in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
But now I've got the opportunity to deliver the integrity game to brand new audiences all over the country or world, perhaps, if Vistage indeed is worldwide, like you're saying. So what was the point of that? Oh, yeah. Well, the point of that, though, was that sometimes, like, why would I try to put peer advisory on my menu? I'd rather just say, oh, if I need somebody, it takes away. I mean, I'd be a good facilitator. Does that make sense? I'd be good speaking to a group that's facilitated by somebody else, or I'd be good at facilitating a group. But I put effort into it. And I was like, I held, mock meetings where it's like, hey, let's have a preview meeting. And so I would populate it there was people on board, right? But I never got to critical mass, and I found out some of the challenges, and it really, really, really dialed me in on why Jim made such a fantastic choice to plug into Vistage, get their training, get their institutional support, get their years of experience, get all of that pedigree institutionally, that corporate pedigree behind him, and he's been able to shine because he doesn't have to lift all of the boulders like I was trying to do, right? And so it's not on my menu anymore, right? Does this make sense? So what does it make sense? What would be the cost of delivering this? You follow? Went back to the point that I was making, like, what do I collect for peer advisory? What did I pay myself to run it? What do I pay myself to recruit and fill it? let alone run it. What about the coaching sessions after the monthly meetings? What do I pay myself for that? How much time am I putting to marketing, pounding pavement, and having conversations? Oh my God, all of a sudden I'm not doing other things that I want to do, like coach or speak or write books, etc. This it's not profitable for me to keep that on my menu, even though I'd be a great facilitator or a great speaker inside peer advisory. When I was putting my business glasses on, it didn't make sense to have that on my menu anymore. I went for it. I tried. I dipped my toes, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. We're nuts. But yeah, anyway, we're back to the menu, advising, improving, experimenting with. But I want to get people away from this, like, hey, if speaking is the only thing on your menu, I think it's okay to say I'm a speaker. Cool. But don't say I have a speaking business.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really? Tell me more. What do you say, Sue?
Yeah. Oh, look, I agree with that. And the other thing that came to mind as we were reading this too is taking the time and putting effort into breaking these down, looking at what do you charge, what has it got to pay for, what has it got to cover.
Yeah.
Helps to decide, well, to your point, is it worth the effort, and are you going to get anything financially out of it that warrants putting it on your menu in the first place, but helps you to decide what's the value, what am I going to charge, if I'm going to be able to pay for all those elements that we've talked about in terms of I'm just trying to find it quickly. I can't. Anyway, it's in there, but I think it helps to choose a price point if we're going to decide should it be on the menu. Doing the work that we've talked about in this tip really helps to evaluate that.
Yeah, you know me, I'm a communication guy. I'm not going to get into the weeds, but I will introduce the concepts. Are what is there's we're going to talk about marketing in a couple of weeks, right? Actually, we're going to start next week, right? We're going to leave operations, move into marketing next week. But there's questions that businesses need to ask and answer, like what is the cost of client acquisition, right? It's possible for a business to make a calculate. It's hard. I think it's harder for my business, right? But I can do it. I can invest. I can make every client I get, I can trace how did I get that client and what are all the efforts that I made in order to get that client. But it's so multi-determined. Part of when people hire you is based on reputation, which is hard to measure because you accumulate that over years. You know what I'm saying? But if you did something like, all right, if I attend this many networking events, that translates into this many troikas and this many one-on-ones, and then now I can calculate the number of hours that I spent. So if I get one, I'm just going to use easy numbers. One $10,000 retainer, and it took me 100 hours to get that, right? Now I can start to figure out a cost of client acquisition, right?
Yeah.
There's a formula that you can, right? But then there's another cost that we want to calculate, which is how much does it cost me to produce and deliver the product and service. So forget acquiring the client. That's all marketing and marketing expense and sales expense, this expense of sales and marketing, right? And branding and reputation and so forth. But now, what are the expenses of serving what somebody has purchased? How much does it cost for me to ship a book, right? So like now, if I want to, you follow, how much does it cost me to, like, if a speaking gig, right? Now I got to do the math, right? Like, all right, earlier last month I went up to Orange County, remember? And I spoke in front of Orange Theory Fitness and the people at Aspire, right? So now there's an amount of money I got paid for that. Plus they bought 110 books. Plus I was allowed to sell. But ultimately, I'm going to be able to calculate a total amount of number that represents revenue, money in. Yeah. But what I need to deduct from that, right, is, all right, I was speaking for 90 minutes, but it was a 90-minute drive there, a 90-minute drive back. So now there's 3 hours of travel time. I can't assign all of it to this gig because while I was in travel time, I could have been on the phone and doing other things. So how much of that travel time would I assign to that project? Do you follow? And deduct or bill that project, right? Does this make sense? If I'm really getting into the weeds, then I also like how much time did it take me to meet with how many meetings did I have before they paid the speaking retainer, right? What was my overhead for books and did I have it covered? How much did I sell the books to them for? So if the books cost me $3, did I sell them for $3 or did I sell them for $5? You know what I'm saying? Like, so the meetings with the guys, how much time did it take me to write the agreement? Now there's administrative fees, even if it's 20 minutes to open up my speaker agreement and change this person to that person, this address to that address, this date to that date, this location to that location. I can send that off to admin or do that myself. I'm either paying her or paying me to do it. And this goes, I'm walking somebody through one case study where, look, all of this costs time and money. So now what do I need to charge in order to, and ultimately sometimes we take a loss. It's like, what? You've got paid couple $1,000 to speak for 90 minutes and they bought 125 of your books. So yeah, and I took a loss on that event. Like, what are you talking about? Well, how much do you think I paid Jeff Klu back? How much do you think the integrity game paid to Jeff Klu back? Zero. The money stayed in my business. The money came in and it stays there and I'm going to operate out of it. I didn't pay Jeff Klu back a speaker fee. Now we're getting into identity crisis where I'm the owner of the business, but I'm also a speaker in the business. I'm accountability number 1 and number 7. Do you hear how I'm talking through this, breaking down the one scenario? It's, same thing. Coaches have to deal with the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? What are you charging for coaching? And what do you pay yourself as a coach? That's my favorite question. It's like, oh yeah, I run a coaching business. Oh really? Do you run a coaching business or are you the coach? Oh no, I coach. I have a coaching business. My business is coaching. Okay, what do you pay yourself to coach?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think people went through the exercise you're talking about, they would be horrified.
Yeah. And so I want to have fun with this. I want to be Jeff Boyardee about it. I want to be honest about it. We shouldn't be ashamed. These are the realities. I'm willing to tell the truth. I'm willing to wear it on my sleeve, right? Yeah, it's because I'm still in business after 17 years and I still got money coming in, but sometimes I don't know where my next money's coming from because I'm playing the solopreneurial push the boulder uphill game. But I'm aware of the accountabilities. It gets easier. I'm less concerned about what I'm not getting done these days because as a lifestyle business, it's working. But now the new Vistage thing and there's these growth is knocking on my door, and so it's time for me to think about how am I going to address all 12 accountabilities on the org chart rather than just the ones that protect my lifestyle business. Now it's time to see what's really capable here, and so it's fun to go through these accountabilities. I know that I fall short and I'm weak in many of them, but what else? Sue, what do you got? Comments, questions?
And
there you go.
There's work to be done, and I think it's easy to get caught up in the emotion and the semantics of the language. I'm a business owner. I run a business, and yet we're not being honest about it and not holding ourselves accountable in doing that. And to your point, if there's nothing wrong with it, but let's be honest.
Yeah, because it's more efficient. If you take 1 grain of sand off of the beach, it's still a beach, but it's just not as strong as it was. So why take any time away from what our business really needs with the posturing and the lying to ourselves and the positioning and the smoke and mirrors and to try to paint it and sugarcoat it and to protect our ego and our sense of self? Like, why don't we just be honest about who we are, where we're at, and where we want to go? Chances are that's okay.
Yeah.
one of the places that I'm coming from. But I have fun teasing, like, oh, you have a business, do you? Tell me more. I just do that for the laughter, right? Because it is funny. All humor is rooted in reality. So just to review, in this section, tip number 41 was accountability number 1. Pay the fee of feasibility and do the work to figure out, is this business worth building? Is it worth running? With all of the stuff that's going to come with trying to build this business or run this business, is it worth it? If so, run it. That's accountability number 2. The people performing this accountability hold the person holding, this accountability accountable. And now that's all above the line. But what we did today is we went inside the business now into more technical or tactical or technician level work. Right? Yep. Let's create the menu. As a matter of fact, while I get ready to do last call, I thought about this earlier, but I'm surprised I didn't bring it up and have it ready to go. Give me a second and I'll bring it up and have it ready to go in just a second, I hope. Let's see if I can find it super fast. Aha. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go into Canva real quick, because that's the quickest place. You're speaking of menus. It's like walking the walk, talking the talk. Yeah. So you guys see this. Here's a good example. Do you see 7 offers from the integrity game? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So this is like a menu. Yeah. And right. So you can either renew, right? People can either renew what they've been doing, or they can get on-call coaching. Or you can dive in and get into our soft skills library or video library that's not necessarily soft skills, but other content such as coaching and leadership training, mindset training, right? The videos around mentoring, around leadership and engagement and motivation and accountability. Or maybe you want us to create work product for your organization that you don't have, or you want to do a VIP day or a strategic day. You want to roll up the sleeves and get the walls covered with wallpaper-sized Post-it notes and facilitate and ideate and brainstorm and annual plan, etc. Or you want on-call laser, unlimited accountability for, right? These are things that we put on the menu. We developed the menu, and you can have fun with it. 7 solutions, or I themed them out even according to baseball. I think we've got the baseball versions. And there we are. So there's extra innings or on deck or spring training or season ticket holder or pinch hitting. If you don't have somebody to do the work, maybe we can come in and do the work for you as a consultant, right? MVP, strategic work days. So we even have a theme around our menu to stay consistent with the baseball motif of the integrity game. So it's really helpful to just brainstorm, look at your business, not as an individual with a monetized skill set that you can sell, but what's on the menu, right? See yourself as a restaurant where people could come in, ask for a menu, read what's on the menu, and be able to have a title, a description, and a price for what is on your menu. That's when we go to any restaurant ever, and we look at the menu, every item that we can buy, there's a title, a description, and a price. Moons over Miami is the title. English muffin with ham and egg, face up with the hollandaise sauce, $12.99. A title, a description, and a price. Those are the elements, right? You've got it now. You got a menu item. What else? So, has this been fun? Has this been good? Helpful?
Yeah, it is. It's fun, and but I think it highlights the amount of work.
All right. Well, here we are. Yeah. Look, there's so much work, that if you're not committed to having fun, you might as well commit yourself to an insane asylum.
I was going to say, you'll go nuts.
Be committed one way or the other, right? Commit to having fun, or you should be committed. But last call, comments, questions, jokes, riddles. I mean, it's a journey. Some of us entrepreneurs were, quote, unemployable, right? So let's have a good time in our madness.
I love it. I don't have any riddles or anything today.
Your poem last week was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you feel complete, I feel complete. For those of you watching out there, I'm on my way to go play golf, Halloween golf, a little 9-hole pitch and putt with so many people that are members of the Provisors community. But it's Gary Eastman, who's a fantastic attorney here in town, and AJ Gupta of Gupta, Evans, and Ayers. They're the primary. There may be one other sponsor that I'm forgetting. Forgive me if I forget a third sponsor, but I know Gary Eastman and Gupta, Evans, Ayers. And this is my second year participating. I didn't win anything last year, but I had a really, really good time. You know what's interesting, Sue, is I remember drinking last year, and I'm not going to drink today. There's going to be a true test of will, right? There's 49, 50. Today's day 50 of no alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
I'm impressed.
well, Dave, yeah, it's 50. Today's the 50th day since I started the 90-day challenge. Let me put it that way, right? So I'm heading into the the day's not done yet, right? But I'm gonna go and there's gonna be a bunch of people drinking and playing golf in costume at the 9-hole in out in Point Loma at Liberty Station little golf course there. So that's where I'm headed. I'm about to go enjoy the rest of my Friday and start off my weekend as Jeff Boy RD. We're gonna cook up some fun out there, and that's my last comment. And that's my last thing.
I think that's a really good place to close it out, and you go and have an awesome time.
All right. Well, on behalf of Sue, Integrity Game Certified Coach and co-author for Get a Klu in 52 Speaker Edition, I'm Jeff Klubeck, founder and author of the Integrity Game and all the other craziness that I concoct. And I'm just happy to be doing this with you every week. We hope that you guys out there, whether you're watching or recording right now or whether you're following us live, we hope that you're getting something out of this journey. Get a Klu in 52 for speakers, 52 tips that really help us with our foundation, our personal brand, our methodology for preparation, and ultimately building our careers, whether it's advancing our career or building a career around this important skill set of public speaking. Thanks everyone for being with us, and we hope that we're valuable every week. Sue, we'll see you no later than next week, but probably Wednesday for another all-star session. Have yourself a great weekend from all the way down under in Melbourne, Australia.
You too.
All right.
Go hit that golf ball.
Oh, will do. Thanks, Sue. We'll see everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.